Yeah, and girl, when they went to that tight shot of them,
Mm,
and it's when he was looking at a
mm.
girl. Mm,
You got the look, Omar. I don't know.
you got the
You
look.
got the look.
You got the look. You
Sure enough, to be cooking
got
in
in
my
my
book.
book.
Your
Your
face is
body's
jamming.
jamming.
Your
Your
body
body's
at the slamming.
slamming.
This love is good. Oh, let me start making
Okay.
that fat. Get around.
Hey
Hey,
everybody,
everybody.
what's up? What
What
up
is
though?
going on?
Thank you guys. Look, getting situated here.
Yeah, we are getting situated, but we thank you for tuning in for our turn up here as we do our
Clink.
clink.
Welcome to Clink the recap. As you know, we are recapping the
The J-
newer
mm,
series Johnson.
yes, Johnson.
And before we dive in, we are your hosts.
Cam.
And okay, y'all, what's up? All right, so this is again Clink with Cam and K. We
Mm-hmm.
are a grown and sexy podcast, okay?
And look at these tops,
Grown
y'all.
and
Grown
sexy.
and this is the funny part. We did not coordinate our outfits.
We
And
didn't.
I very rarely show some boobage, but I said, hey, let me show off my beautiful C necklace that my
Do it,
sister
girl.
gifted
Do
me.
it, girl. Do
Hey.
it. Okay. And I often show off my cleavage because I'm like,
She's
if
rubbing
you
off on me.
have it, flaunt
Flaunt
it.
it.
Especially being women. I'm in my 40s, so come on now. I still
Mhm.
got it. Hello.
Okay.
All
Snap, snap.
right. Snap, snap. All right. So we are a couple of sister friends. We are filmmakers. We are podcasters. We are all around creators. We love to create.
Yes.
We
Create.
love to create things. I just always been like that as a little child.
Mhm.
Just
Me too. And we also like to find the beauty in life.
yes,
Sometimes we like to find the petty things in life as well,
yes,
but we're only human.
yes. All right, y'all. So, we just want to make a correction, but it really. So, we misspoke last week. You can see the Johnsons on Hulu and Amazon Prime, which is
Amazon
even
Prime.
better.
Yeah,
Okay.
I made a mistake. I thought it was Netflix. I don't know why it was at Netflix. You need to get Johnson on your
I know,
network,
right?
okay? So it could be all the way around because we
Maybe you
want to
were speaking that to
support.
flourishing. You were
Yeah,
speaking that
into
of things to come.
existence, into existence.
All right, y'all. Look again.
Mm.
Johnson's is a really very good series. We're wrapping up season one.
Yes, but I'm so in love with the entire cast. Whoever
See, I
did the
told you, I knew you would
casting
like
did
it.
a wonderful job.
The
I like all of
cast,
them.
the writing, because the guy that plays Greg, he does all the writing.
And his name is DG Dijon D
It's D
D
something.
D D D.
And I know I said this before, but we gotta find him so we can like interview him.
Yes, and
That'll be
say,
dope.
how do you say your name? We would love to pick that handsome brain of yours.
Right. Ooh, okay, girl. Start us off. Start
Okay,
us
let me
off.
see, honey. The scene opens up with the brothers at the bar. And they're sitting
Mm-hmm.
there having a good time and trying to see who's going to pay that check because, the brothers like to get their drink on. And
Mm-hmm.
then in comes Bippity Boppity Boo, Jimmy from the anger management
Oh,
class.
Jimmy.
He walks up with, if you want to call him
His
a
little
crew.
crew.
I
His
was
little crew.
I was like, boy, if you don't go sit your behind down somewhere. And he's talking big ish to Omar, calling him the teacher's pet, saying all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So I love what Greg does. Greg steps up and he says, you just say the word. He was up and at him
Like, what
like,
you want us to do? Oh, what you want us to do?
what we gonna
We
do?
got
What we gonna
you.
do?
Just like friends should. Okay.
Yes, step up to the plate. So Omar reminds Jimmy, aren't you in class because of a court order? He starts looking all dumb. And he said, yeah, because you're not supposed to be in a bar. You're not supposed
Mm-hmm.
to be drinking. Now, are you? Now, Jimmy.
And see, and that was very smart. So because all the while, because like if you don't watch the show yet, Omar, he has some anger
Got a
issues,
temper.
and he's trying to better himself. Now he's there in a class, just so he can, look good for the courts,
So
so he
he
can
can
get
get a custody of
custody of
his
his
son.
son. But he's really, excuse me, he's it's really been helping him.
Mm-hmm.
So I like how they let us know that all these thoughts that was going through his head before he actually made a decision, because he was like, okay, if I do, and I like that. I like
Yeah,
that
you. I
saying.
love how he intently, like you can read his face. Like, yeah, that was good. I really like that.
Hmm.
And so he was calling him the teacher's pet. Jimmy was calling Omar the teacher's pet. So he reminded him, yeah, I am the teacher's pet. He's bluffing though. And I got her number on speed dial. So if
Hmm.
I were you, I'd step off. Okay. And he tells him he would call Jane. And so then he punks him and tells him, and by the way, here's my bill. You're going to pay it. So he's like, oh, 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 oh.
Right.
And then when he sees
Oh,
that
hillbilly
bill, it's
ass.
over $200. He like,
But a Jarvis was like, oh yeah, we did that. Like, yeah, we
yeah,
killed that.
we
We
did
did
that.
that.
We did that. So then afterwards, he starts scrambling around, and his friends, does anybody have any money?
Right.
I guess, do you take Venmo? Or whatever he said. I was like, okay. Mm-hmm. It was a very classy act
It was, and
on
I, I
Omar's part.
I liked how, again, Omar didn't succumb to the pressure,
Yeah.
because he has a very big ego.
Yes, and but he's focused because he
Yeah.
loves his son more than he loves his ego. I was like,
Hmm.
okay.
Right. All right.
So then Omar sees Naomi and her attorney. And Naomi, she
Mm-hmm.
is so cold to Omar when
She
he acknowledges
is. I mean, she
her.
again. I think she's hurt, and we'll see
Yeah,
why.
but you better quit. The two attorneys, they exchange pleasantries, and it lets us know that the two of them have a past of some sort, and we don't know
Mhm.
exactly what it is.
And Omar peeped that. He was like, basically, like, you gonna be able to concentrate on my case.
Ain't gonna be no lovers quarrel up in there,
Right.
is it? And she reassures him, no, it's not. If it's going to be any quarreling, it'll only be between you and Naomi.
Right. I was like, ooh, girl, that judge.
She played that. I like
She
her.
did.
She did, but she was a trip,
She was a trip.
honey. She was. She was all on her side. Sister girl,
Right
what you
before
do?
she just she had this preconceived notion, like he just automatically ain't no good.
But a lot of times attorneys will pick a judge like that on purpose.
True.
And I think
Yeah.
that her attorney thought that they would have an advantage
Mm-hmm.
with this
Mm-hmm.
judge until okay, but we're going to talk
Right,
about
right,
that. So we see Keith and Jervis at the gallery, and he's pining over Bianca's photograph that he took, and he's telling them, "Oh, you have to be very careful with that because that's my blah 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 blah
Man, she
blah."
didn't even think about
She
him
ain't
like
think about
that.
him at all.
Okay.
And then he's so goofy. He hits himself in the finger with a hammer because he's trying to do a job. You are a photographer. You are not the help.
Right,
Let the
right.
people do their job.
Your hands are soft, not
Right.
calluses, not full of calluses.
So he tells Jervis, I haven't talked to Bianca since she left for Miami. And Jervis is kind of like, ugh. But he's like, oh yeah, come on, let's go because we got stuff to do. We got to get it together so we can be there for Omar at his hearing.
Mm-hmm.
But I like their little cute little fun dance and how they
Mm-hmm.
have fun together. I like all those little nuances in the
Mm-hmm.
writing.
Yep.
And then we have Serena
Girl, Serena, but she's at lunch with
with
her friend and
her friend
co-worker.
and her coworker because
Yeah.
that lady was not her
No, it's
friend.
not her friend. This
I
is
was
straight up
mad at that
co-worker.
heifer. I was like, okay, Cindy. Um, Cindy, of course, happens to be Caucasian, and she brings up the fact that Serena was engaged for 24 hours because our good friend Kim was running her mouth. And she's like, oh, well, I didn't think I wasn't talking about her, but I thought it was okay for me to say it to her because then I'm not talking about her. I'm like, oh,
Girl,
you have no idea about sister code.
right. So Serena, where she goes to and tell them, basically, what happened, and she said he keep blowing up her phone, right?
hmm
Yeah.
And then, of course, Kim is like, well, to block him and tries to get her to block
Mm-hmm.
him. That's not the right thing to do, but yeah, block him, and she doesn't want to. Um, Kim is looking at Cindy though in disbelief, like she could not believe that she just told her friend that she told her business to her. She was pissed,
Yeah,
but
she
Serena
was
looked like she wanted to
pissed.
cuss her out. But Kim tells her the best way to get over a man is to get under another man. Dumb. And she wants to put her on a dating app.
Right. And she's kind of hesitant. I don't blame you, girl. No,
She was like, I'm not trying to do that. She's
right.
like, I need to heal first
Yes.
before I try to do
Yes.
anything because she really does love Greg. Whew. Good, 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 girl. Be strong, sisters. Don't succumb to the sister. We're gonna talk about that later.
Yes.
Okay. So, well, honey, they go on into litigation with the judge, who was like, she's like Naomi. She's like, girl, what do you do? And she told her she was a
Celebrity
celebrity. Mm-hmm.
stylist. She was like, "Who's your client?" She was what, like Usher. She named it some
Usher,
big. So she's like, "Oh,
Sierra.
okay. This is the judge, y'all. This unprofessional."
Oh, girl, for real? You
Right.
doing that, ain't you? I'm like, okay.
And what you do?
So he lets her know that he worked for a tech company before he got a buyout. And then Naomi just like attacks him. Well, he wanted me to be a stay-at-home wife and all this. I'm like, girl, you are really hurt.
Yeah, I mean, and plus she's trying to like lay it on because she's trying to win. So,
But I love the fact that no matter how hurt she is, he does not try to throw her under the
mm,
bus because that is the mother of his child.
yes, and Robin, Omar's attorney, she tried to get the letter signed from the therapist into evidence, but the judge was like, she was like, no,
It's too late.
it's too late. I was like, wow,
She was like, you should
but
have
she was
did
being
that.
very biased.
But the thing is, they didn't even know about a lot of the stuff that was going on until the 11th hour. So they did
Mm-hmm.
whatever they had to do to make him have a
Mm-hmm.
stronger case.
Yeah.
And so then I love the fact that he shared that, you know, he didn't know what to do when Naomi was going through postpartum,
Yeah.
that he had no idea, but had he known what he knows now, he would have handled things differently.
Right. And he also told the judge, like, when she asked what did he do, because he got let go from his tech job
Mm-hmm.
because of his incident. And he told the judge, and the incident was, he was fighting this guy in a parking lot, protecting his wife, and he said he'll do it again. And
He
he
was
was
like, because nobody's going to disrespect my wife.
right.
And she was just sitting there looking like, she still was
Uh,
looking like a little stank face. I was like, oh, you better unprotect your little stanky little face. And Omar looked at the judge and said, it is my job
mhm.
as a man to protect my wife.
Come on,
I was
Omar.
like, you better say that. And honey, that
Mm.
must have hit a nerve because honey, that
Mhm.
judge's eyes lit up and she kind of gave Naomi a look like,
You
oh,
let
okay,
that go?
all of that, all of
All of
that.
that. Y'all go watch
She
this show.
and then
Okay.
right, and then she said, "You know what? Where's that letter from your anger
Mhm.
management teacher? Let me see that letter." And she let it be admissible in evidence, and I was so happy because I was like,
Yes.
"Hey!" I was like, "Go, judge." So, I go ahead.
Well, no, go ahead.
So she took the
Oh, what you
into
want to
account
say?
nothing.
I
She
thought you
just
want
took
to say
into
something. Okay.
account. Shoot, the judge was looking at her like you stupid
Yeah.
because he fine. He had a good job and he wanted you to stay
Come
home and you
on
had a
now.
problem with that.
Oh, when he said, about, but he was like, I'm not hurting for money. He said, I had a nice little severance. I'm like, oh,
Right. He was like letting her know I
okay.
had a
I
severance.
got
I'm not a
money. I got
bum. I'm
money.
not a bum. And so that gave her the shed new light
Yeah.
that and then Naomi says she wasn't made to be a housewife. He wasn't trying to be for her to be a housewife because he was putting her down. That's her own
Well,
idiosyncrasies.
because remember last episode he
Mm-hmm.
had that conversation with Eugene, his uncle, and he was saying, how black women aren't traditional like they used to be. He wanted somebody like his mama.
That, but he also
But like DL said, people grow.
and you got to grow together.
Yeah.
But the other thing was, I think he made a valid point. He only knew her for 6 months before they got
True.
married.
That's true.
So in 6 months, you really
You can't.
don't
You
know a
don't know
person.
nobody.
It's a lot of things that, even though you have
Mm-mm.
conversations, it's a lot of things that you need to talk about and that
Mm-hmm.
you need to work out, especially when bringing children into the world or
Mm-hmm.
thinking about getting married to anybody. Period. So when court's over, she walks out. He talked to his boys. He played it off
Yeah.
really good. They thought that he lost because
Right.
he was, playing the
Right.
role, and then he told them that they got joint custody.
Mm-hmm.
And when he sees Naomi again, respectful A Naomi, and
Yeah.
she just gave him the nastiest,
Like,
coldest
girl, get
look.
over it.
And
Get
he told her,
over
"I
it.
don't want anything from you. I'm not trying to take anything from
Yes.
you." And I
He
thought
wants to
that
be
was
there for his
good.
damn son.
Mm-hmm.
How many? Come on. How many men? So Omar goes to Eugene's studio, um, his uncle, to tell him the good news that he got joint custody of Caleb. So Eugene puts him on the radio. He was like, "No, I ain't trying to go on the radio." He was like, "No, you going."
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so it's Eugene, his co-host, and Omar. They're on the radio,
Mm-hmm.
and Omar is just telling his uncle and everybody that's listening how the media likes to portray black men as deadbeats, but the
Mm-hmm.
statistics really shows the opposite. And I remember seeing those stats like a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know how, and it's true how the media was like, how black men are not there for their kids, but in actuality, the numbers really rose.
Yeah. I think that for years, black men haven't had a level playing field when it comes
Hmm.
to court because sometimes sis sisters, whoever I'm talking to right now, no, we can be so bitter and so hurt that we cause situations and circumstances in our on our side that affect the men who don't want to deal with us. Thus, they don't want to deal with their child because you're the one that pushed them away,
Hmm.
and it's like fighting an uphill battle
Yeah.
for some men.
Yeah, so Omar says that black men and black women should not be blaming one another.
Mm-hmm.
And Eugene and the co-host said, "Well, he said, come on now, black men cannot communicate." I was like, "Amen."
But then he
Right.
said in his rebuttal, "Oh, we do talk, but we talk to each other."
But I'm like, what the hell is that going to do? You guys talking to each other. You're supposed to be talking to your significant others. You know how to communicate better. I
I
mean,
think
I see what he's
I think
saying,
because
and it's not all men. Don't get me
not all
wrong.
men, but what he says, because when you go to a woman to talk to her, she
Hmm.
doesn't listen.
Well, he said,
I'm trying to find the
he's
girl.
right. He's Omar said that that's a false statement. He said, but he personally know.
They're scared to talk to women because of the way they will react.
Yes, I'm putting in my own. So I said I personally know someone who don't know how to communicate. But yeah, like he said no, men talk. Men are express. They express to one another. Omar said that men are scared to talk to women because of how they might react. He said they sometimes criticize, even laugh when they are emotional. And I have in my notes, I don't know what type of women those are, but I would welcome that.
I would
I
too.
would welcome a man who's open and
Who's
emotional
vulnerable?
towards me. Come on
But I
now.
think that does. I've heard men say that before. Like they'll
Hmm.
be vulnerable with a woman, and she'll throw it up in their face later, and then it
See,
makes it
that's the
hard
wrong woman.
for the next one
Yeah.
because now we're getting all these roadblocks and blocks and brick walls that we don't deserve. But
Yeah.
anyway, I love Jervis's wife called him at some point in between all this madness and tells him that he needs to come to his office now because the news is in front of there.
I thought Danny called him.
Was it Danny?
Was it? I think it was.
Somebody called him and said, "Get
Yeah.
to your office because the news is out
Yeah.
here." I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. So yeah. So Jarvis goes to his office and he's on the verge of being canceled.
It's the media circus, honey. They like
Yeah,
throwing all these
because of
questions
the
at him.
the racial accusations with Kevin's dad's firm. And Jarvis goes in and he talks to Danny, and there's another man there. It might be what his attorney, maybe.
Well, they never
Yeah, they
identified
never.
him.
That's why I'm like, it might be his
His
attorney.
it was his cousin that was sitting there so he can get some FaceTime on the scene. He was atmosphere. No, I'm just joking.
But Danny tells Jarvis like, you on the verge of getting canceled. Black
Hmm.
Twitter is going
They
in,
dogging you.
and he'll say he said he working it out.
But Danny, she's like, let me go talk to the media. Because I'm tired. Because right now, Danny is in war mode because she already wants to quit her job and join Black Lives Matter. So
Right,
she is
right.
for the people, okay? Love you,
She
Danny.
wanna get her first active activism together.
Yes. So
Girl,
Jarvis
yeah, go
tells
ahead.
her, I appreciate your
Hmm.
enthusiasm, but we're not playing checkers. This
Yes.
is chess.
Yeah,
And but he does acknowledge her feelings and tell
he
her
does.
that we will circle back to that conversation.
Hmm. Yeah, I
And I
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah. So Jarvis is with his wife, and he's looking at himself on the news, and the news banner says, it's breaking news that real estate CEO in hot water,
Mhm.
and his wife is apologizing, like, I'm so sorry I made you go and do this with Kevin, pushing you to work with him. And this fool
You let me
said,
walk out the house looking like that?
he said, you see my edge up? They got me here looking bad.
Got me
I was
looking
like,
rude.
I
So
can't.
right. And so he was like, you know what? I'm about to go to my barber and then I'm gonna have an interview. I
He said,
was
I'm gonna
like,
call my own interview on my terms and get ahead of it,
yes. So then that way he
so he
can
can control the
control the
narrative.
narrative. So then we have
Ooh, Omar goes to
Omar.
know.
He goes over to see his son, and his son is so happy to see him.
Yeah, I like that little outfit Naomi had on though. I was like, yes, girl,
That sweater
work.
was
I
everything.
like
It
that.
was. So he tells him that next weekend he's coming with him and they're gonna have an all guys
Hmm.
weekend, and his son is so excited, and she gets a little cheesy and she's like, well, don't be too excited.
Right.
He gets to go hang out and be
Yeah, with
with
his
the
little
fellas.
man.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Naomi asks Omar, can we please talk for a second before you go to play 2K with Caleb?
Yep. So now it goes to Greg. He is
You missed
what?
when they start talking.
That's it. They break it up.
Oh, when I was typing, I must have been typing, girl, because
What you got? What you got in your
I got
notes?
caught up in the scene.
What you
Go
got?
ahead, no, go ahead.
Oh, Greg is kicking the Airbnb people out his house. And they're yelling at him like, "Is this even legal?" He was like, "Yes, it's legal under Section C of the whatever code."
He probably
And
made that up, but he just getting them out because he don't have nowhere to go.
right, and then it goes back to Naomi and Omar in the kitchen.
So Naomi asks him, "Does he want a drink?" And she softens up, and
Yeah,
they
mhm.
talking. And honey, the way Omar was looking at her, I felt that in my spirit. I was like,
Girl,
"Oh,
I was like, if we can switch places, Naomi.
ooh, ooh."
Mm.
But she shares with him. Um, I think it really hit her when they had the talk with the judge that he did care about
Yeah,
her, and when he did what she never had that information, that he left not because of her but because he thought what he was doing what was best, because he didn't know, he was ill informed, she was ill informed, they were going through something, and neither one of them knew what to do.
she got really like choked up when he told her he appreciate everything that she does for their son.
And she's like, you never said that to me
Mm-hmm.
before. Panties got
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Ah, girl, hell, I got moist. Not even my son. Like, what the hell?
Right.
Okay.
So then she tells him that she thought that when she had Caleb that it would solve their problems
Mm-hmm.
between her and him, and also her
Mm-hmm. Her father.
problems with her dad.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he said, no, honey. He said, adults, they have to talk and solve their problems together, and adults, children only bring highlight issues that adults have when you bring a child into um,
Oh yeah.
the situation. And he was talking to her so intently, so
Very
gently,
intently.
so
And
tenderly, and they ended up.
well, before then, they were talking about the time she had, because this was a touching moment.
It was.
The time that she had postpartum, and he said, he thought he was doing her a favor by leaving and giving her space. See, that's one thing. Like they're thinking one thing and we're thinking another. But then she tells him, she said what she needed is to know that he was going to be there for her. I was like, come on now.
But one thing I'm noticing is she doesn't seem to have any guidance, and he didn't seem to have any either, or he didn't reach out to get it until years later. Because
Too
they
late.
talking about that's one thing that was kind of y'all talking about that. The boy's like 10 years old.
Yeah, he
So if
about 10,
postpartum
12.
is like 10 years, 9, 8 years ago, I'm like, dang, y'all ain't. So all these feelings
Sometimes people
were
hold them
harbored,
in
yeah,
and then it manifests in problems and this and that, you
and
know?
it breaks stuff down because you didn't communicate. So we
Hmm.
can be strong black women, but we have to also be strong black women who communicate. Just like we need strong black men, but we also need strong black men who communicate, and we need to tell each other how we feel.
Yeah. And girl, when they went to that tight shot of them,
Mm,
and it's when he was looking at a girl,
mm.
girl. Mm,
You got to look, Omar. I don't know.
you got the
You
look.
got to look.
You got the look. You
Sure enough, to be cooking
got
in
in
my
my
book.
book.
Your
Your
face is
body's
jamming.
jamming.
Your
Your
body
body's
ain't the slamming.
slamming.
This love is good. Oh, let me start making
Okay.
that fat. Yeah, Omar.
Okay, yeah.
When he kissed her, I was sitting there like, damn, damn. That was so sweet because it was passionate yet sweet at the same time. It was just a really nice moment
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
Black love.
Yeah. So Jarvis is holding his interview with Angela Yee. Oh,
Mm.
what? Oh no.
No, you're right.
Yeah, Jarvis is doing his interview
Yeah.
with Angela Yee,
Hmm.
and he's doing his whole soliloquy. You know,
I
black
am
people
I'm
are
black, y'all,
right.
and that's a fact, y'all, and that black,
Right.
y'all.
And he's saying that black people are complex and that so Angela Yee was like, they call you a sellout on Twitter. He was like, he's used to that, because he's always been called a sellout because he's educated and because of who he's
He's married to
married
a
to.
Caucasian woman.
Right. And then it flashes to Greg looking at his interview on his phone in his car. And when Jarvis was saying, yeah, like, yeah, my people, he's like, oh, now we your people. I like
Because Jervis and
that.
Greg have always butted heads over that exact issue that he
Mhm.
felt that Jervis thought he was better than him
Yeah.
because
Or
he
forgot his
forgot where he
blackness.
came
Yeah, forgot
from.
where he came from. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was saying that he had no idea about the unethical practices that was
Hmm.
going on with MC Casey, whatever the
Right,
and
right.
he was pissed off because he said he was ill informed, and so he apologized to the black community and to everyone because he did
Hmm.
not do his research. So that goes to show that all money ain't good money.
Yeah, and that's what he said. So in turn, he's going to like start an initiative like at his firm where he has uh, interns from HBCUs to work at his company and amongst other things. And
And
that he's going to start
minorities.
with his own money.
Yes.
I'm like, go ahead,
And then
Jarvis.
they show Kevin and his father,
Oh,
and they are not
his
happy
daddy
with
is
that
pissed.
interview because he was letting them know, like, moving forward, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to be for the people because remember, he did go to them and say, "Can I please start these initiatives with this
Yeah.
with your company?" And he basically laughed them off.
Yeah,
He was
because
like,
they
"I'm
weren't
not trying
concerned
to do
about
that
that. They just wanted a black person on there because they
to make them look good."
yeah, because they had a lot of heat because of their racial
They were
issues.
selling the square footage to commercial properties for like 10 times the amount that they would charge. It was
That's
a trip. I was
crazy.
I was mad. I was like, get them.
Right.
Oh, then they go to Uncle Gene promoting Keith's art show.
Yeah, that was nice.
And so we get to Keith's art show.
Girl.
And
So we know that Crown Royal is a sponsor of that episode.
yes, because it was mentioned several times.
Several. You see the big close up
We
when
did count.
it's like 3 times.
Yeah.
The first time because Lisa and Jarvis was already at the bar and Omar comes up. He
Mm-hmm.
tells the bartender he wants a Crown Royal neat, and the bartender is pouring it, and just a big close up on the label.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I ain't mad at y'all because if shameless plug. So if anybody have, 'cause, we like to burn candles. So if you make candles, sell
Mm-hmm.
candles, we are happy to showcase them if you want to be a
Yes, or
sponsor.
if you make
Okay.
wine, or if you have some cute
Yes.
clothes, we wear those too.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So
Shameless plug, Kim and
right.
Kay. Okay, so they're standing at the bar.
Hmm.
Jervis, Lisa, his wife, is there, and Greg tells Jervis that he saw the interview and he
Hmm.
feels like that his heart is in the right place.
Yes, I like that. What I have in my notes, yeah, and the people will be able to see that as well. And he said he know that he does, and so that was like their official, I think, like makeup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
saying it without saying it, but saying it. Yeah.
Right.
So Greg tells Jarvis that we said that. So Bianca shows up and she's standing there looking gorgeous as she does,
With her
and
bubble ponytail, I remember when I rocked mine.
yes.
Hmm.
So they're all staring like without trying to say, "Ooh,
Well, not well, just Omar and
great."
Greg because they know.
Yeah. And so Keith is saying that he wants to show this photograph and why it means so much to him. I thought that was so touching. I was
I
like,
know,
that
and
was
that was a
dope.
nice photograph.
Yeah. And he explained that about the name Johnson and how when they were kids, they would all have to line up in alphabetical order in elementary school. And so he unveiled this beautiful photograph of his three brothers. And
Hmm.
he explained that he was the only child, but those are his brothers for life.
Yep. So Omar was like, I'm about to go to the bathroom, but he didn't. He just want to catch Bianca coming out the bathroom. Was like, they were like, what are you doing here? They're like, what are you doing here? I'm like, yeah, they don't know that they had Keith and well, Omar knew because he knows, but I don't think Bianca knew.
Bianca didn't know because
Hmm.
remember, was it Greg that set that up to catfish to
Yes,
get to see if she
to
liked
tell Omar.
Keith,
Hmm.
but it was never supposed to go that far. I mean,
Exactly.
she's just like nonchalant, like, oh, I don't even
Like
remember.
he's my friend. Girl,
She was like, I
stop.
don't even
You used
remember,
him.
but she was like, I don't even remember. I was drunk. I was like,
He
dang,
was like, so you don't remember his
it's
little ego.
shot to the ego. All right, he thought he did something, and she didn't even. She's like, I was so out of it. I was like, it's not a good look to be that drunk that you don't remember. Because if you're going to be a heifer, remember, okay?
Okay. And then, okay, this part, I'm like, okay.
But she did tell him. She said, Keith is my friend. I didn't know you knew him, and I do care for him. He is a good person, and I'm here to support
Yeah.
my friend.
So basically, they said, that she said she didn't remember, that night and all of that. So Keith comes from behind the corner. Apparently, he heard everything because we didn't even see
He
him
came
like
out
in
the
the shadows. And I, huh?
bathroom. Was he in the bathroom?
Girl, no, he just came out. I'm like, okay,
Oh, he was
y'all.
lurking.
So he knows what happened between the both of them.
And they both were really hurt because they didn't want to hurt Keith.
So Keith comes back. I can I can relate to Keith because he's acting out of his emotions. So
Yeah.
he grabbed the mic and he was just saying some things and he tried not to say some things and he shut the party down. People like what? So Jarvis with his drunk ass went to pick up the mic again, rambling.
But everybody stayed and they partied because they
Yeah.
were like, he was like, oh, that was part of a poem. And I'm like, huh? He tried to cover for him, but people stayed. They had a good time. But then at that point, Jervis was like, okay, baby, we gotta go.
Yeah.
So Greg knows that Keith found out about Omar and Bianca,
Hmm.
and Omar is sick that he hurt Keith. He is just like,
Yeah. So
Lisa's driving.
Lisa is driving. Yep, they get pulled over by the police. Again, Jarvis is visibly drunk.
Mm-hmm.
The police ask Lisa for, the standard. And she's like, oh, okay, girl, did she? I'm like, how old is she? Because she look old as hell.
She
That
did
close
look a
up,
little,
oh my
yeah,
God.
you know.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, Jarvis is again, he's this little goosey goosey. He's drunk.
He takes his seatbelt off.
He takes the seatbelt off because on his side, the passenger side, it's a black cop. On Lisa's side, it's a white cop. And he's just talking
It's
to the police like, hey, brother.
Yeah, and his ego was getting a little beyond itself because he had mentioned things like, "I got an attorneys and I can do this and
Yeah.
I could do that," and I think that
But
was a
he has the
he
right
was
though.
right,
He was right because the black cop was like, let me see your ID. He's like, what for? That's illegal. Which yeah,
right? Because I'm a passenger. You don't need to see my ID.
exactly. So things escalate. The they trying to get him out the truck. They both fight. Girl, you see he's like, I ain't go.
They snatched that
They
ass out the
snatch his
car.
ass up.
Did she unlock the door so they could get him
I
out?
don't know. She probably did.
Things that made you go,
She
mm.
probably
And
did.
then they flash to Keith. Keith is at goes to his little spot and he hears that guy with that wonderful voice
Yeah,
singing.
it's another guy. They have different people. I love that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it gives me that New York undercover vibe when they used to go to the club and it'd be,
Mm-hmm.
different singers. But yeah.
So of course the waitress is telling him she gonna get him this, and he asked for a
A,
Crown
a
Royal.
crown roy. That's mention number two.
Yes, instead of that. And so then he's sitting there, and then we see Omar walk in the
No,
back.
before then, Bianca calls Keith. He looks at it. He delete her contact.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so then, Omar walks in. He ordered a
a
crown
Crown
royal.
Royal. Number three, we were paying attention. And he sees Keith, and he's just like, he don't know what to do. So he just like stands there from a distance, and
Hmm.
then they go back to Jervis,
And
and
I like the at that whole scene with Keith and
Omar,
Elmar. Dale Hughley is voicing over,
yeah,
about friendships and stuff. So I was like, it was good. That whole
yeah.
moment.
And then, while all this is going on, they flash to Serena, and she is cutting her
She cutting the
hair.
hair,
You
y'all.
know
It's
what happens when
over.
a
It's
woman cut her
over.
hair?
Because wait,
Yes,
no,
it's
before
over.
while she was doing at it goes to Greg actually.
Oh, he's
Greg goes
going over
over Ari's
Ari's house.
house
Yeah, I
because
got
he
that.
got the phone back from the boys, and we didn't talk about that part.
We did. We just skipped all over that. Well, let's. We're gonna go back real quick.
Yeah,
Greg went to the store, and the
the
little
same store where he
boys
got
where he
robbed.
got
The
robbed,
boys,
and the
yeah,
boys were selling water, and he saw the one guy, and he said, "I know." He
your
asked him his
brother.
name, and he told him
Hmm.
his government, and his friends laughed at him, and he said, "I know your brother. How is he? We used to go to school together."
Hmm.
And he says,
He's in
he's locked
jail.
up."
Yep.
So he gave him some gems. He said, "You know what?
You don't have
You don't
to
have to
go
go
that
down the
route.
same path."
Yeah.
He says, "A big world out there is so much more to see and do outside of this neighborhood." So I was glad that he dropped some gems
Yes.
to him,
I
and
like that
yeah,
because
that's very important.
I like that he wrote that because his whole stance was no, we're not calling the police. We as the elder black men should be able to communicate and talk to the young,
Yeah,
and they heard what he had to say.
and he gave him that phone. He said,
Yeah,
"It's too old for me to do
right,
anything with it anyway." And then he's like, "Oh, you're not getting that wallet back." The other
right,
guy, he like, "No." He just kind of looked back like,
right.
whatever.
So that's why Greg was at Ari's house because he was returning her phone and he was just basically telling her, look, he really loves Serena and
Yeah, he's like, "She's
she
been there for
deserved
me."
better. She's been there for him. And then it flashes to her in the mirror in the bathroom cutting her braids, y'all.
Cutting that bread. Ooh, when she did that, I said, "Oh snap!"
Mm,
You know what that means?
mm-hmm,
And Ari asked Greg, "Does he love Serena?" And he said, "Yes, and she deserves everything." I
mm-hmm.
said, "You better say she deserves everything. I hope she take you back." But
And then we go to
Jarvis,
Jarvis. He's beat up, bloody, and everything. He's trying to use his one phone call. He calls. He's
Keith,
calling all his boys. He
yeah,
called Keith because it's coming up as
unknown.
unknown number.
Mhm.
Because I don't answer
Me
unknowns.
neither.
And then who answers the phone?
Greg.
Greg.
So don't be just sleeping on your friends. So that one friend you sleeping on might be the one that have to come and save you
Hmm.
behind.
And that's where season one ends. And next week we'll pick up with season two,
Yes,
y'all.
yes, yes,
Love this show.
yes.
I just really love this show. What I somebody on when I promote our the recaps on my personal Facebook page, somebody was like, I started watching it. It was like it's good so far. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
And also I like to the each episode is the right amount of time because it's not too much. Sometimes you get episodes and they are so long you get lost in it. And I love the way that he writes and the way that he broke them down
Mm-hmm.
from a cinematic point of view. Because it's just enough that it just lingers. I'm like, oh, I want more.
Yeah.
Oh, I want more.
Yes.
So
Yes.
great job,
Yes.
DJ.
Exactly.
I'm gonna say, hey DJ, because I don't know how to say your name, but I'm gonna learn it this week.
Hey, Mr.
DJ,
DJ,
you can get it started.
Everybody's ready to party
All
all night,
night.
all night. But yeah, it's a great show. I highly encourage you all to watch Johnson. I like for real.
It's
It's good.
positive. It's about
It's
us.
funny.
It's
It's
for us.
drama. It's relatable.
It is
It's
the
good.
perfect mix.
It's really good. Yep.
All right. So thank you all for joining us for
Clink.
Clink. And remember, we want to hear from you. So go to Speak Pipe. How you say it?
Speak pipe.
Pipe
Mm-hmm.
slash
dot
dot
com
com
slash
slash
Cam
Cam
and
and
K.
K.
It is in our description of YouTube channel, All Things Cam and K. So just hit it. You go right to it. All right.
And we would love to hear from you. Maybe you
Yes.
got a deep voice like Omar, and we could be like,
Ooh.
ooh. But whatever the case,
Bye.
bye. I can't believe I was all tongue tied. I was like,